Evening, everybody. Welcome to day 4 of my mindset seminar. I am just getting up the screens that I need in the background to keep an eye on all you lovely people and move the slides around. So let's get started. So this week we have been welcoming you to mindset. We have looked at how our mind works on Monday. We looked at the laws of the universe on Tuesday. Yesterday, we looked at how your mindset can work for you and how shifting your mindset helps your mindset work for you. Today, we are covering the knowing-doing gap and how to be grateful for everything and why that is important. So, recap of yesterday, we covered paradigms, all based on your belief systems. Your self-image is from your paradigm, your values, completely forgot the word then. Your values, the word's just not coming. It does something to your paradigm. It creates it. There you go. It helps in creating it. Your memories as well. So like I said, if you have a particularly bad memory about a certain situation, that will interact with your paradigm and make it difficult for you to do it again in the future, because you'll be like, nope, this happened last time, I'm not doing it again. And then your paradigm creates your mindset as well. We discussed what habits were or habits are and how they're formed. So you have your cue, your trigger. Your body then craves the response that you get normally when you produce the response. So you get your trigger, you get your craving. You respond to the craving by doing whatever it is, eating that bit of cake, having that cigarette, and you get the reward. So you get the happy chemicals in your brain. We then looked at how to replace your old habits. Because remember, there's no point in trying to just stop a habit. Isn't going to work. Can't just stop things dead. You need to create something to replace it. So we went through these 4 little help things from Atomic Habits by James Clear. Deciding on who the type of person is that you want to be and what habit you're going to change or create to get to be that person. We looked at habit trackers at the bottom. We looked at temptation bundling and at location setting. So I will do the behavior at this time and this location. So I will get up at, I will meditate at 6 o'clock in the lounge in my house and things like that. And writing it down, as I said, helps you to be a little bit more accountable, or getting an accountability partner to hold you to it is even better as well. And I have had a couple of people reach out to me, so massive thank yous to you and well done for taking the first step. So well done to you guys who have reached out and that we are now working together with to hold you accountable to create your new habit and become the person that you want to be. We looked at, are you a follower or a leader? And then we discussed that it's okay to be both. To be an effective leader, you must be an intelligent follower. We then looked at 5 tips for shifting your mindset. So breathing in through the nose, hold it for a couple of seconds, and then out through the mouth like you're blowing through a straw. Looking at what you are grateful for. So gratitude practice is something we're going to touch on today as well. But thinking of something that you're grateful for instantly pushes your mind to look for the good. We talked about having a quiet room or a quiet space where you can go to in your mind as your escapism. We also looked at focusing on your goal. So not focusing on where you are now and the results that you've got now, but focusing on where you want to go. So as the quote said, you don't have to see the whole path. Stay focused on the destination like a sat-nav, and then just take the next step as it comes to you. And then the 5th tip that I gave was to do what makes you happy. Whether it listen to a certain type of music, go for a walk, dance, sing, paint, anything that it is that makes you happy. And then the last thing we touched on yesterday was 7 simple ways to leave everyone that you encounter with an impression of increase. Because if you're helping someone else to feel better, you will instantly feel better yourself. It just has to be. Okay, so today we are going to cover what is knowing, what is doing, and then why we don't do what we know how to do, and how we can start doing what we already know how to do. And at the end, I will touch a little bit more on gratitude. So what is knowing? Going to refresh your memory on our little friend here, our little stick person. We have our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, and our body. Remember, the conscious mind is where you think. The subconscious mind is your emotions, your feeling. So whatever you're thinking creates your emotions. Your body is then the manifestation of those feelings. So your body is in a vibration set by your emotions, which is set by your thinking, which then creates action. You get reaction from the universe, and that creates your results. So the conscious mind is the educated mind. The rational mind is where your higher faculties are, where you can think, you can reason, you've got your imagination, your intuition, your willpower, and your memory, and you have free will in the conscious mind. It is where everything that you learn, either at school or on courses or just in general life, is stored. Everything that you learn, your knowing, is all in the conscious mind. Okay? Subconscious mind is the emotional mind. It's the subjective mind, and it can't choose. So the knowing is all in the conscious mind, and the doing is all in the subconscious mind. So you think about what you should be doing or using all the knowledge. Your subconscious mind is what dictates what you then do. And that's the tricky bit, because your subconscious mind is where your paradigm is. Okay, so why don't we do what we know how to do? Because of our paradigm. Okay, so where's it gone? Oh no, there it is. Just a little bit of a quote that I found from, oh, I think our live just broke down. Has it come back? Let's have a look. I'm not sure that it's still streaming, but we'll keep going anyway and just see what happens. So a quote that I found within the training that I have been doing recently said that most of us are confronted with the same challenge every day. We end up doing things that we don't want to do, getting results that we don't want to get, and for some strange reason, we continue to do them anyway. Perfect example. How many of you, when you were at school or when you were at home or even in your adult life, have a conversation similar to this? Somebody would say to you, "Why did you do that? Jay, why did you do that?" And you'd reply with, "I don't know." It could be anything that you've done. Knocked over a pot of paint, or stabbed another child with a pencil, or taken a book from somebody else, or something really random, and somebody says, "Well, why did you do that?" And you reply, "Well, I don't know." But you know better. "Well, yeah, I know better. So why did you do it?" I genuinely don't know. And that can happen to us at all times. There was an example given by Bob Proctor in my mentorship program that I was doing with Proctor Gallagher Institute, where he also said that that sort of thing occurred to him when he joined the Navy. So he was new into the Navy, and he'd do something, and the commanding officer, he'd be called in front of him and say, "Proctor, why did you do that?" "I don't know, sir." And the commanding officer would say, "What do you mean you don't know? You know better." "Yes, sir, I know." "Then why did you do it?" "I don't know." And he'd end up being punished, as you would do in the army. Probably got punished for whatever it was that you did at school as well. But you'd still go out and do the same thing again. Why? Because it's ingrained into your paradigm. Okay? You can walk into any corporation anywhere in the world, and people go on training seminars in pretty much every single thing, every single company or institution. You go on a training session or training week. You learn how to do something. You learn how to take the next step in your training. You go back to work. You're all enthused. Yes, I'm really going to do this. And then you just don't do it. Why? It's because of our paradigm. When we learn something new, we have to rebuild a new habit to do that new thing. We are inherently lazy, as I said yesterday. So we will take the easiest route. So if we're trying to learn or thinking that we can do a new skill and we learn the new skill, we've then also got to change our paradigm to believe that we can do that skill. With me so far? Hope so. So, quote from John Ruskin here: education does not mean teaching people what they do not know. It means teaching them to behave as they do not behave. Let me say that again. So education does not mean teaching people what they do not know. It means teaching them to behave as they do not behave. Everything you need to take the next step in your life, or to do a new skill or something like that, you already have the knowledge. You just need to do it. So you already know how to do everything that you need to do to reach that next step in your life that you want to reach. But you're just not doing it. And I bet that's frustrating. I know it was for me before I knew why I wasn't doing it. Okay, so how can we start doing what we already know how to do? Bob Proctor wrote, "Paradigms keep people operating at 40 miles an hour, even though there is an infinite horsepower under our hood." So in our brains, there is an infinite power. We never get up to the speed that we're capable. And Thomas Edison also mentioned that if we all did the things that we are really capable of doing, we would literally astonish ourselves. So everything that the Proctor Institute does, all the training that Bob produces from all of his mentors over the years, is to try and get people doing the things they already know how to do. Let's take a look at how we do that. So, step 1, you need to understand your paradigm and how it functions. So ask yourself these questions and write them down. Writing them down is key. So what are your habits? Probably don't have time to write them all down right now, but just write down these headings. And obviously this replay, the live will go into the group and also go onto my YouTube channel, so you can come back to it to write these down if you miss this. But write these down and answer them later. So what are your habits? What are your beliefs? So remember, I said beliefs really make up your habit, your paradigm, and your paradigm is a multitude of habits. So you need to work out what your habits are, what your beliefs are, what are your values, what is your self-image, how do you see yourself, and with all of these questions, be honest. You don't have to show it to anyone else. No one else is going to read it. You can burn it afterwards or shred it. So be honest. Really take a good look at yourself. It's really, really key. Starts with being honest with yourself. Okay, and what are your results now? That might be quite hard, and I know I found this hard when I first did it last year, because my results weren't great. I wasn't anywhere near where I wanted to be. In fact, I had no job. So you can't get much lower than that at the time, but I've turned it around. I'm all good now. So write these down, answer them honestly, and then you can move on to step 2. So step 2, write down how you want your life to be. So use your imagination. Get yourself in a nice relaxed state. You've done the whole where you are now. Put that to one side. Now all you need to do is just completely clear your mind. Go to your quiet place for a couple of minutes to completely clear your mind and write down what you really want your life to look like. What's your personality like? Your personality traits, your character, not flaws, but your character traits that you want. Do you want to be confident if you're not confident now? Do you want to be bright and bubbly, the centre of attention, like the life and soul of the party? Or do you want to be someone a little bit more quiet and reserved? Not reserved, but quiet and not so in your face, for example. What are you doing in your future life? Where are you working? What's your job? Are you self-employed? Are you the head of a big company? Have you got that promotion in that job that you really, really like? How do you dress? What kind of clothes do you wear? Is it different to what you wear now? Or is it the same? It's up to you. Where do you live? What kind of house is it? What does it look like? Where is it? What continent is it? What do you have in the garden? What do you drive? Who do you associate with? Who are your friends? Who are your family? Who is your surrounding circle? I heard once that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with. So in this situation, if you want to be super successful and be earning quite a lot of money, you need to be finding some people to hang around with that are successful and already where you want to be. Just checking the recording because I'm getting a few flashbacks. Or flash ups, sorry. No, it all seems alright. Just being strange, I think. Okay, so write these questions down, answer them honestly. And then step 3, take action. So, as we said yesterday, paradigms are habits. You need to work out from that list of who you want to be, what kind of habits do you need to start doing? Okay, you need an action plan. Only 1 or 2 things at a time, like I said, but you need to start taking action. So the easiest way to start becoming the person that you want to be is to act like you're already them. The really, really big, good actors are able to completely put themselves into the character that they're playing. A perfect example that was quite recent, quite a dark example, but Heath Ledger unfortunately took his own life, but they think that the impact on him of really playing the Joker in the way that he played it, that's such an amazing character portrayal that he did, massively impacted him in his real life. Because it was so long in filming, his subconscious mind must have believed that that is who he was, which is a real shame, but it is the risk that actors take. And the best actors can make you believe that they are that character. They just play them effortlessly. Focus on your goal. Get emotionally involved. So always have an image of that goal where you're heading in your mind. Visit it often and get emotionally involved with it. Feel like that person is going to feel. That person is you. Just not yet. You will be there if you keep following these steps. But feel like you are already that person. Be open-minded. Follow through with ideas that you think of. When you stay open-minded, you stay able to receive ideas from the universal spirit that we spoke about this week. And when you get those ideas, act on them. If they look logical and reasonable, or even if they look illogical, look into it. What's the worst that can happen? You end up staying where you are now. Or you take a leap. You take a growth spurt. It's worth a try. So only think of what you can give as this new person, not what you will get. So when you become that new person, what is it that you can then give to the world? You will be fairly compensated for everything that you give, so you do not need to worry about, oh, well, if I do this, I'm going to get that. I wonder if they give me that, what do I have to give them? Just focus on what you can give. And always think from your future self. So always act as if you are already that person. And in any decision that you have to make in life at the moment, think, what would my future self do in this decision, in this situation? What would I do in the future if I were there now? Okay? Enough of the I can't do it attitude. You can, you just can't do it yet. So you need to level up and you need to work out how you're going to do it. Don't entertain any ideas from anybody else or even from yourself of how you can't do something. There's a story, I'll post it in the group, I've got the article for it. It's called the 333 story. And it was about, there was a big tornado back in Ontario a fair few years ago now. And a radio broadcaster was driving through the town. And he got the idea that he wanted to raise £3 million in 3 hours in 3 days' time. And when he went into work the next day on the Friday, on the Thursday or Friday, I can't remember which one, but it was towards the end of the week, he called a big meeting with his officials, with his work colleagues. He was the head of the broadcasting company. And he told them to raise £3 million in 3 hours in 3 days' time to help those people whose town has been absolutely devastated by that tornado. And of course, they all sat there and went, don't be silly, don't be daft. And what he did was he went over to a whiteboard, he drew a line across the top and a line through the middle, split it in half. And on one side, he put ideas how we can. And on the other side, he put ideas how we can't. And then on that side under ideas how we can't, he put a big cross. So there was no space to write ideas. And then he said, so how are we going to do it? And somebody piped up and said, oh, we could get the two big radio names, whoever they were at the time, to host the show. We could put on a show and we could get them to host the show. And somebody went, nah, they're never going to do that. And the guy at the front turned round and went, next. And the theory was, every single time somebody came up with an idea that was a good idea, they'd write it down under the side of ideas how we can. And if somebody gave any reason why they couldn't do it, the group would say next and just completely move on. Not acknowledge it and just move on. I apologise to those of you that are watching live. It seems like I'm having a few integration issues between my streaming software and Facebook. I will carry on regardless because the recording hopefully will be okay. But thank you for hanging with me and I appreciate your patience. So, as I was saying, so they decided on writing down ideas how they could, and any idea that suggested any way that they couldn't do it, they just next, just nexted them. And on the Monday morning, or the Monday following week, they put on a broadcast of 3 hours with the two top anchors in the country, and they covered the whole of Canada. So that required lots of different broadcasting agencies, all working together, all streaming the same broadcast across all of their stations, which is not done in radio. They do not share. They do not put out the same information at all. They do not work together. And in this instance, they did. And it became one of the founding ideas for the book Chicken Soup for the Soul, written by Mark Victor Hansen. And it's also mentioned quite a lot in Bob Proctor's training circles as well. Because it basically teaches us there is an ultimate supply or infinite supply of ideas that come through to and through us from the infinite spirit. If an idea comes up that is negative, a way that we can't do whatever it is that we're trying to do, next, just let it go. Another idea will replace it shortly. But if you focus on the ideas that won't work, you then end up going down the dark path and never doing it. So only ever focus on ways that you can. If an idea comes up of how you can't, next. Just ignore it. Haven't got the money? Next. You don't need the money yet because you haven't made the decision. Interesting concept. Let's carry on. So, our last little session for today is on gratitude. And as the quote here says, gratitude changes everything. Okay? So if you cannot be grateful for what you have now, I'll say it bluntly, but how could you possibly be grateful for whatever you get in the future? Interesting. Okay, so if you can't be appreciative or grateful for everything that you have now, be it good or bad, how can you possibly be grateful for anything you get in the future? That's like saying, oh, I'll be happy when I get. No, you're happy now. Enjoy the journey to where you're going. Don't be happy because of something. Because if you're constantly chasing that thing that's going to make you happy, you're never going to get there. And even if you do get there, what then? You constantly need to be going for a goal, yes, but don't be happy because you've reached it. Don't be grateful when you reach something. Be grateful for everything that you have now and for the journey that you're going on to get there. And I love this little quote from Winnie the Pooh from A.A. Milne. Piglet noticed that even though he had a very small heart, it could hold a rather large amount of gratitude. So even the smallest person doing the smallest things can have an absolute huge amount of gratitude. And if you can be grateful for everything that you've got and everything that you will have and everything that you've had, it's the key to a happier life. So if you can really, and I mean seriously, be grateful for everything, then it will make you a happier person. Because you're not constantly chasing something. You're not saying, oh, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy because. You're happy now and you're enjoying the journey. It might be a bit rough where you are right now, and I am really sorry if that is the case. But you need to find the good in where you are and be grateful for what you have. Even being grateful for the negative instantly puts a positive spin on it. I'm grateful I stubbed my toe this morning because it allows me to remember that I've got feeling, that I have nerves in my body. It reminds me what an amazing piece of machinery that my body is. Find the good. I'm grateful for the guy that cut me up on the road this morning. He allowed me to snap out of whatever it was that I was going through at the time by disturbing my thought process. I turned my frustration on him, but then I forgot what I was frustrated about in the first place. I am grateful for the traffic lights turning red because I got to have a look around and see other drivers singing in their cars. I got to watch a bird flying overhead. I got to watch a family walking happily down the street. Find the good in absolutely everything, even if it's bad. And you'll find that as soon as you spot one good thing, and you're grateful for spotting it, your mindset will start to shift. Okay? So, homework for tonight. What is it that you know how to do, but you just don't do? So what is it that is basically stopping you from taking that next step into your life? Into the life that you want and the life that you are dreaming of. What is it that's stopping you from doing it? I'll be really open and put myself in a little bit of a vulnerable pedestal as an example. But when I first started getting into mindset coaching, I knew it was exactly what I wanted to do. And for the first 2 or 3 months, nothing happened. So I went back to some of the stuff that I was studying because I was getting a little bit frustrated. And I spoke to my mentor a few times and they suggested I have a look at what I was doing each day. And I can tell you that I am the procrastination queen. I officially dubbed myself that title, and I'm going to change it to I was. Because I was incredibly busy all the time. I'd go to work at my teaching job. I would come home, sort my family out, put my little girl to bed, have dinner and everything else all in between that. And as soon as she went to bed, I would spend the next 3 to 4 hours hustling away on my laptop. And I was busy. I was doing stuff. I was everywhere, doing loads and loads of stuff. I had some really, really perfected content layouts and templates. I had a website that was designed to the umpteenth degree. I'm not going to say it was amazing in the terms of the world, but to me, it was as perfect as I could make it. But I was procrastinating. I was choosing to do things that were easy, that I wanted to do, and subconsciously, I was putting off doing the one thing that would actually help the business to grow, which is namely getting out there and contacting and speaking to people. You cannot do a mindset or any form of coaching business unless you're actually speaking to people. What's the point in having all this knowledge if you don't share it with the world? So I gave myself a big kick up the butt. There is a blog post on my website about it for when I kind of realised. It was a bit later than I realised, but I wasn't comfortable sharing it at the time until I kind of grew into the idea that I was busy, but I wasn't being effective. I wasn't being productive. And that was I knew exactly what I needed to do because my mentor was telling me exactly what I needed to do. And all the stuff I was reading was telling me exactly what I needed to do, but I wasn't doing it. And at the time, I wasn't aware that I wasn't doing it until all of a sudden I had this wonderful aha moment. And I was so proud of myself that I have to share it. I didn't give myself a hard time over it, which was a huge thing for me, because anyone who does know me will know that I do beat myself up a little bit mentally. And that's just, it's old paradigms, it is what it is. It's changing though. I did not give myself a hard time. I went, seriously? You're so busy, but you're not actually being effective. Now, what can you do to be more effective the next time, or the next day, or from today? And I set myself up a little schedule, and I've got 5 things that I have to do before I can do anything else. And those 5 things come first every single day. It's like study, contact X number of people, follow up with some people that I've spoken to another day, create a new product on my store, on my online store, and then create some posts and things advertising. And those are the 5 things that I do every single day, because they're the income producing ones. And it also means that now I am able to speak to so many lovely people every single day and help them in the same way that I hope this is helping you. And I do that on a more one-to-one basis. So back to you guys, because you guys are more important at the moment. Your homework is to write down what do you know how to do, but don't do, and be really honest with yourself. Be honest, otherwise it doesn't work. Number 2, work out why you don't do it. For me, I didn't do it because I was scared of getting criticised, or people giving me grief, returning the, criticising. It was all in my mind, basically, because when I started contacting people, there wasn't any criticism. People were really open to the information. I was able to share quite a lot of information quite early on, and it was brilliant. And then number 3, I want you to create a statement of intent and either send it to me and I'll hold you to account, or post it in the group and we can all hold you to account, or we can hold each other. Accountability is key. When you're trying to change something in your life, trying to do it on your own and holding yourself to account doesn't work, because you will give yourself a pass. Oh, well, I won't do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. And it's because this, and this. If you have an accountability partner, they can basically turn around to you and say, no, you said you were going to do it, so do it. And you are more likely to do it, because, again, you'll be thinking, oh, well, if I don't do it, they're going to give me grief, which is their job. And you do it the same for them. So get yourself an accountability partner, be it me, be it someone else in the group, be it somebody that you know at home. Write down your intent of what you are going to start doing and get doing it. It's the only way you're going to start changing your paradigm. And the key to change is to change your paradigm. You can change all the actions in the world, but if you don't change the cause of your action, which is your paradigm, you'll only do it for so long before you just stop. Okay? So today we have covered what is knowing. So knowing is all the information that we have stored up in our conscious mind. Everything we've learned at school, everything we learn on training courses, everything we learn in life in general. What is doing? Doing is our subconscious habits. And as I said yesterday, it's our paradigm. Paradigms are a multitude of habits which control our habitual behavior, and 95% of our behavior is habitual. You do it automatically without even thinking. So you learn some new stuff on your training course, but you just don't do it because it is not a habit yet. And successful people make the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. They don't like to do it either, successful people, but they make it into a habit so that they do it. Things like not binge watching another episode of Netflix until XYZ is done that they need to get done for their business. Or they do not allow themselves anywhere near their phone until they've done their morning meditation. They choose the hard choices, the undesirable actions, because they know that's what will make them successful. Okay, so why don't we do what we know how to do? It's all in our paradigm. Okay, it's our habitual behavior, it is ingrained, and to try and do something that we know how to do, that is not ingrained into us as a let's do it, we ain't going to do it. We need to internalize that knowledge and build it into our paradigm. We need to make it into a new habit. We need to create new habits to change our behavior, and that in turn changes our results. Okay, so you need to install new habits, upgrade your programming like you would on a computer. Otherwise, things are not going to change. And then how can we start doing what we know how to do? By changing the habits. Using all the examples that we used yesterday. So you already know how to do this. Now you have to do it. So you've already got the knowledge because we went through it yesterday about your intention statements and your trackers and your decision on who you want to be and what kind of habit you need to start doing to be that person, your temptation bundles, your rewards, your cues, changing your environment to suit the new habit, making it easy, making it convenient. Like we said, lying out the gym kit the night before. It's the best way to do it because then it's just easy. You don't have the excuse. You don't give yourself a pass because it's already there. It's already ready to go. It's just pick it up and go. And a friend of mine yesterday introduced me to a technique that she saw on YouTube for when she hits the snooze button. It's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. And I think it's Mel Robbins. And she said on that video that when the alarm goes off in the morning, she was notorious at pressing the snooze button and then going back to sleep. Or she was about to do something that she knew she had to do, but then hesitated. As we all do. You hesitate when you're about to do something that is out of routine. So instead of going back to sleep or hitting the snooze button, when she sees herself hesitating, which gives her thinking mind and her subconscious mind chance to go, whoa, 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 we don't want to do that. You go, no, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and do it anyway. Because counting backwards is a subconscious kind of trigger of going into action. Counting forwards doesn't work because you can just keep counting. But I will do this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anybody who works in schools knows that this technique is incredible. You can, or I can, on my supply days. These kids don't know me. They have no respect for me because why would they? They don't know me. I can go into any room in any school, 300 kids in a assembly, for example, or 30 kids in a classroom, and I can go listening in 5, 4, 3. By now they're starting to quieten down. 2, listening in 1, and listening. Silence. And 99 times out of 100, that's how it goes. There are always occasions where it really doesn't, but they might not have heard you, the noise is too much. It could just be one of those schools. Okay, but 9 times out of 10, or 99 times out of 100, because that's bigger odds, counting down 2 children works, and it works for us adults as well. So try it next time when you start going, I'm going to do this, but I don't know. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm doing it. And it really works. It's really effective. Okay, so other ways that we can start doing what we know how to do, we're just building the habits, aren't we? Okay, so get your decisions made beforehand. For example, you have decided you're going on a diet. You decide when you get up in the morning, I am not going to eat any cake today. That's it. I am not going to eat any cake today, and when I get home tonight, I am going to have this treat. And it's something that you really want, but it is much less calorific than a piece of cake. Okay, and you leave it there and it's all ready to go, and hopefully no one else in the household eats it, otherwise they're going to be in trouble. But then you go out for the day, and you know that you're going to a coffee shop or to meet a friend for lunch or something like that, and you're offered some cake. And normally you'd go, oh, well, I want the cake, but I'm not supposed to have the cake on a diet, but I really want the cake and it's going to taste so good. You've had the cue, your subconscious is giving you the craving, you want to eat it, otherwise your brain's going to make you feel bad. But because you've already made that decision in the morning, I am not going to have any cake today. Would you like some cake? No, I'm fine, thank you. Usually at that point, I know it does for me, I go, oh, but I actually do want cake. No, I've made the decision. The decision has been made. Make the decision in advance. Okay? And then we have looked at gratitude. So being grateful for absolutely everything you already have, good and bad, finding the good, and grateful for everything you have yet to come across. If you can't be grateful for what you have now, how are you going to be grateful for everything you get in the future? Okay, so tomorrow, session 5, our last session together, we are going to summarise and recap the week. I'm going to go through each of the lessons that we have gone through this week and give a brief overview of everything. Repetition is key when you're learning a new skill, so I highly recommend going through these videos again next week. But the reason for doing the summary at the end of the 5 days and recapping everything that we've done is for repetition. You'll pick up things you missed, and you'll cement ideas that were kind of floating around you hadn't quite got hold of. Hear them again, they'll get more cemented. Okay, so we'll go through the 4 lessons that we've done. I will also then introduce you to your free gift, which I have made myself. It is a journal of planituding, which is a amalgamation of planning and gratitude, all into a journal, day by day sheets, and I'll explain it all tomorrow. I will then also give you some advice on the next steps that you can take following this training. This all might be really new to you. It could be something you've heard before. Either way, I will give you some next steps that are good for everyone. I hope this has found you well today. I thank you for being on here with me or for watching the replay. I welcome any feedback. I am aware that I've had some live streaming problems today. Hopefully the recording will be okay. I will check it in a moment. Like I said, I do welcome any feedback. So all of my contact details are down below. Platform of your choice, drop me an email, speak to me in the group, drop me a private message. Share your thoughts in the group. Entirely up to you how you want to get in touch. I'm open to all. Okay? I hope this has found you well and that you have a lovely rest of your evening, and I will speak to you again tomorrow night. Have a good evening.